Instagram is about much more than just posting good work, and how you manage your account can significantly influence your brand perception. Want to know my secrets? Stay tuned because I'm about to spill all of it. What's up, Alpha Universe? Jacques Crafford here with another fun tutorial. For those of you who don't know me, I make videos for a living. I specialize in tourism, travel and adventure films. Check out my website and my Instagram for info and updates. Now this video is an extension of two webinars I did earlier. The first one about growing your filmmaking business and the second about getting the work you've always dreamed of. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go check it out on Alpha Universe page under events. Before I share all my Instagram secrets, let's do a recap. We spoke about what you put out there is what you will attract. How the quality of what you put out is more important than the quantity. I mentioned the power of first impressions and the benefits of doing passion projects to grow your portfolio with work that you want to do more of. After that, I shared the principle of networking both online and offline and how a network can generate more work than any form of ad spend or paid marketing. The secret, however, lies in the point when good work meets a great network. So the goal is to marry quality work and quality branding with a network of friends and industry peers. So what does this have to do with Instagram? Well, Instagram is simply a tool. It's a tool that I use to grow my brand and my network. It's not the only tool, but in my context, it was the most effective tool. You have to look at it like this. If networking is the message, then Instagram is the messenger. Having experienced a lot of success on Instagram, I thought it's about time that I share my secrets. Now when I say success, I'm not talking about followers, but simply about what the platform did for my business and how it translated into work I'm passionate about. When I think of Instagram, only three things come to mind. It's a place to get inspired. It's a place to grow your network. And it's also a portfolio to show your work to your network. If you use Instagram for anything other than this, you have to separate your business from your personal account because we're not here to grow your ego, we're here to grow your business. Now let's jump into the secrets. Curate, curate, curate. Curation doesn't simply involve posting your best content, but it's also about how your content looks together as a whole. The first 12 squares on your feed will play a huge role in whether or not people will follow you. When looking at the bigger picture, your feed needs to be aesthetically pleasing in order to convert more viewers into followers. This involves the general flow and tidiness of your feed. It's possible to have awesome images, but posting them in the wrong order can make your feed feel messy and unorganized. For this reason, I always use a visual planner to help me see what my next post is going to look like in relation to the first 12 squares. The best way to plan your feed is to stick to some sort of theme. The theme will depend on the type of content you're sharing. Some photographers stick to a certain color, for example bright whites, pink undertones, or simply black and white. You can even do a series of threes, in other words, posting in a row. It's completely up to you as long as you stick to your theme and your feed feels like it flows. My theme is simply based on color. I like to work in a cross method by not putting images of the same color next to each other, and this alone creates contrast between your photos because you want each photo to stand out in order to draw the eye to it. For a while, I also tried to let my feed physically flow into each other, but eventually I gave up, since it took too much of my time trying to find pictures that match. I sometimes wait weeks, even months before I post a picture simply because it doesn't fit into my feed yet. This ties in with my principle of quality over quantity. Don't post just because you feel like you have to post. If you don't have an image that will work in your overall feed that will add to your quality perception, just don't post it. Also, when curating, you have to decide what kind of images you're going to post. If you want to get more portraiture work, don't post pictures of landscapes. Focus on your niche and find a theme that will reflect your portfolio in the best way possible. Now, what about behind the scenes? Some of you might argue that people like to experience the raw, unedited side of life. And it's true, but this is something I reserve for my stories. I don't put too much effort into my stories and I make a point of saving the highlights so that people can go back to them in case they missed it. Post in portrait. If you're posting in landscape, you better listen up. Back when I was still chasing followers, I started feeling the frustration when my favorite images didn't get the desired engagement, let alone being featured. Then one day, while browsing through the feed of one of my favorite photographers, it struck me. All of his photos are posted in portrait. Realizing this, I immediately noticed that most of the feature hubs was exclusively reposting portrait images, and I knew I had to adapt to this way of sharing if I want my work to get out. All of a sudden, my landscape images looked really small, and it made sense why portrait is better. It fills the screen. Since phones are portrait, posting in portrait simply brings the viewer closer to your image. I reposted my old landscape photos in portrait, and the next moment, my feed blew up. It all started with this photo I snapped in Mauritius in 2016. The famous underwater waterfall is an illusion created by sand from the shores being driven via ocean currents of the high coastal shelf and down into the darker ocean depths. The first time I posted the image, I got better than normal engagement, but still not one feature. Months down the line, I did round 2 in portrait, and this time, it was a completely different story. The moment I shared it, I started getting featured. First on some smaller accounts, but within hours, my picture went viral and made rounds on some of the biggest feature hubs on Instagram. I grew to 10,000 followers within 1 week. This gave me a lot of momentum. All of a sudden, I got some follows from bigger accounts and also photographers I've been looking up to for a long time. I kept on posting in portrait, and after a few more features, my account just kept on growing. The biggest win out of all these features was never the numbers I gained, but a few key individuals who started following me. This also translated into more work. So yes, you have to play the game. Post in portrait because it fills the screen. You'll get better engagement and you're more likely to get featured. Name and username discovery. Many users miss out on this feature, yet it's so simple. It involves the search algorithm. If you go into your profile settings, you'll see there's actually 2 options for your name. The first one is your name, and the second, your username. What's the difference? Your username is what's commonly known as your handle, and it's what someone taps on to access your feed or search for to find you. The name, however, is what is displayed once your feed is open, like a descriptive name, but even more, it should be seen as a keyword to give you more reach. Your name has the potential to help people find you when searching for something other than your username, but you have to identify what exactly will work for you. Let's look at mine. Clearly my name is not South Africa Tourism, but I've had this for over 4 years now. The reason mine is South Africa and Tourism is because I frequently get followers from abroad looking for pictures of South Africa when they plan their holiday, and one of the words they search for is South Africa and Tourism. Because I've been using this name for such a long time, the algorithm remembers my handle every time someone searches for South Africa and tourism, that it keeps on pushing my handle to the top of the search page. Right now, if you type this in, there's a good chance my name will either be at the top or at least on the first page. This is why some Cape Town Instagrammers put Cape Town in their names, because Cape Town is the #1 tourist destination in South Africa. So how will this work for you? Well, the first bit is your location, and you have to put some thought in what location you're choosing. Since I have a lot of travel photos from all over South Africa, I wanted my target to be for South Africa and not just one city or location. The second part, tourism, is what I would call my niche. So I want people to look for tourism photos to find my account. If you're a wedding photographer in Cape Town, it would look something like this: Cape Town, weddings. Or a food photographer in Johannesburg, Johannesburg, food photographer. You get the idea, right? Using the right keywords in your name will make your account more likely to be discovered, and the trick is to leave it for a while for the algorithm to pick up on it. Location tagging. By tagging your posts and stories with a location, you broaden your chances of being discovered. Yet, it's not just about tagging any location, but you have to put thought into which location you're tagging. Let me give you an example. This is an image I took in the special region of Yogyakarta in Indonesia at a cave called Goa Jomblang. Most people who post this photo would only tag the actual location of the cave, for example, Goa Jomblang. But in essence, this limits your audience. I decided to tag the city of Yogyakarta since there's a much bigger audience who will see the picture, and given its nature, it will stand out in a busy feed full of selfies and food photos. It worked so well that I remember getting a lot of local Indonesian people following me after posting this picture, yet it was never featured. It was simply because they saw it either on the hashtag or the location tag. However, you have to view each case as unique, since this won't work well, for example, a wedding photographer. A wedding photographer has to tag the exact venue location, because prospective brides looking to book that venue will find your images, and you might get booked because they like your style of photography at the venue they want to get married at. All you have to do is think about who you want to target and which location is most likely to be seen by that target market. When posting stories, the same principle applies. You get way more story views when you tag the location because it will actually go into a special group of location-based stories where people who don't follow you can see it. In this story, we hung out at Kogel Bay Nature Reserve, and most people will tag the exact location, but it actually works better to tag Cape Town instead. It's okay to repost. There's absolutely nothing wrong with reposting older images, and there's 3 reasons for this. First of all, your audience is always growing, and new followers don't exactly check out every single image when they hit the follow button. Secondly, there's a big chance that your older followers didn't even see it the first time due to the algorithm. Sharing older images helps to curate your account from a visual point of view, and to keep up the quality aspect, it's good to have some of your best images at the top at all times. So the time between reposts doesn't matter too much, as long as there's enough images between the old and the new post. If you're experiencing rapid growth, a good measure for reposting is when you double in numbers. Another reason why I also encourage reposting is because over time your editing style evolves, mostly for the better, so a fun way to justify a repost is to actually mention that you did a re-edit. Be a good follower. This is a principle I can hammer on because it sets the tone for a healthy network. First of all, the biggest mistake you can make on Instagram is by following too many people. When you follow thousands of accounts, you will have an incredibly random feed. As you add more random followers to your network, expect posts from relevant people to get buried. If you don't care about the feed, then this might not be a big deal, but if you like using Instagram for connecting with your network, then there will be real consequences. As mentioned previously, building your network should be your biggest goal. Try and stick to your niche or industry when you think about following someone. You have to be able to see what your network gets up to without having to scroll for hours. For this reason, I created a personal account so that I don't end up seeing irrelevant content when I'm actually focusing on my network. Engage with those you follow. Engaging with your community is ultimately how you grow your network. You can't expect feedback on your own posts if you never engage with your peers. Commenting on your friends' posts not only builds a relationship, but it actually gives your account increased visibility. So there's always a chance of making a new friend or gaining new followers this way. Make time in your day. Put aside 30 minutes or an hour where you go through your feed and comment on images that inspire you. Be authentic and mean what you say. Don't expect anything in return. Some of my favorite photographers in the world are currently following me. Some of them only recently started, although I've been commenting on their work for years. Your goal should not be to get a follow back or a thank you, but simply to engage with the community. Say no to automation. Now I'm addressing 3 audiences here. First, you've got no clue what I'm talking about. Second, you are using automation already. Third, you're thinking about using automation, but you haven't actually done so. If you fall into category 2 and 3, I can only say one thing: run. Yes, run away from anything that automates any action on your behalf. First, let me explain to those who don't know. Automation comes in various forms, but they all involve using a third-party plugin, also referred to as a bot, to take certain actions on your behalf. For example, following and unfollowing, liking and commenting. You define your target audience, and the bot crawls through accounts that might be interested in you, interacting with them in a predefined, hopefully natural-seeming way. Well, you can forget about the natural part. Many brands and influencers are making use of these third-party plugins in an effort to grow their following and improve visibility. But sadly, this does more harm than good. Let me explain. When a comment is made by software, there's always the chance that it might be inappropriate. Bots are exactly that, bots. So, they can't consider the context or the captions in the photo. They only think about adding a comment based on a hashtag. This, of course, opens a whole box full of issues, some worse than others. A while back, a friend of mine posted an emotional photo and caption about the death of a relative. One of these bots randomly made a completely inappropriate comment, and it was super obvious that the account never even saw or read the post. As freelancers, your brand is 100% connected to your doings on Instagram. It's simple. Bots cannot replace human interaction. Most people can see clear as day that comments aren't from a real person. So it's not surprising that the engagement to those comments is low. Few things are worse than a random comment from someone not following you that says, "Hey, this is great. Come check out my profile." Fake comments have a nasty stench to them, and I can't see anything good coming out of it. Follow to unfollow. I find this trend super annoying. I remember when I started Instagram, completely unaware of bots and automation. One day, I posted a picture and all of a sudden one of my favorite international filmmakers followed me. I remember being so excited, I actually took a screenshot and shared it with my friends. I thought, wow, I'm totally going to become friends with this guy. After a day or two, I realized that he wasn't following me anymore, and I really took it personal. But here's the thing, Instagram is personal. Even though we're all interacting with our business or professional accounts, there's still a person behind the account. And this is why you can't practice follow and unfollowing, because it contradicts the values of building community. When I found out the guy was using a bot to follow and unfollow, it left such a bad taste in my mouth that I said to myself, I will never do that. The second problem with following to unfollow is that you will follow too many accounts, flooding your feed with noise, defeating the purpose of staying in touch with your network and finding inspiration. There's always the chance of the bot unfollowing someone you have a real relationship with. And if they pick up on it, it might just turn sour, because in essence you're saying, I don't care about what you share, but you should care about what I share. It defies the principle of authentic networking. Here's 3 reasons why you should completely avoid automation. Number 1, people don't like bots, and most can tell when a like, follow or comment is fake. Automation puts a question mark over the authenticity of your brand and does more harm than good. Third, Instagram actively works against practices that degrade the user experience and recognizes when your activity is unnatural. The consequence is shadow banning, if not being shut down. Shadow ban means that your content will be invisible to non-followers. That means that no matter what hashtags you use in your post, your images won't appear in the feed of others. You can still create posts and engage with current followers, but you will no longer be able to engage and attract new followers. Like I said in my previous video, it's not about how many people are following you, but about who. The who has to find you in an organic way. And if you're not portraying authenticity, you can forget about building a good network. Buying followers. No, simply no. Nothing good can come out of it. Buying followers will completely destroy any organic engagement, because the algorithm won't know who to show your post to, and Instagram often purges these accounts, so you might find yourself losing thousands of followers overnight. This will not reflect well on your brand. It's no secret that it has become extremely difficult to grow on Instagram. The only reason you will amount to using bots or think about buying followers is if you wanted to improve your follower count. The fact remains that dead followers will not pay the bills. Heck, even having thousands of real followers can be of no monetary value. A platform like Instagram should be seen as a tool to share your content and to grow your network in context with your content. This tool has the ability to lose its effectiveness, and when something new comes along, your following won't set you apart, but your content and network will always follow you regardless of numbers. So focus on these 2 things, your content and your network. The rest will come by itself. So this is where I end off. If this video was in any way helpful to you, please leave a comment below or come say hi on my Instagram page. Thanks so much for watching this video until the end. For updates and current events, go and follow Sony Alpha SA on Facebook and Instagram. Bye for now.